Yeah, okay, so now everybody can see me, so that's cool. I know I'm on the YouTube. We're gonna go ahead and address this thing that's coming. I'll give everybody a couple of minutes to come in. I'll shut down my secondary feed and everybody can see what's going on as far as the primary feed is concerned. And I guess I got to put this information inside the chat room, but it's all good. This I don't even know who this guy. If you're new to the platform, make sure you kind of put some information into the chat room. Let's see. I think this is gonna be a pretty good show. Yeah, I got some uh other folks on the I'm gonna start trying to speak to the people in the chat room as I'm on my way to doing other things. Um Moving forward. What brings you in, Ken, other than I guess you got I guess it's the message you brought to me yesterday. You there,
Hey, yeah,
Ken?
like Coach Prime said, I got time today.
Oh. Yeah, I guess everybody probably has a little bit of time today. Let me pull up my YouTube link in and let me get ready to get all the preliminaries out the way. And let me do
Well,
this.
really one of the main things also is, man, um, being able to receive this valuable information just with all the meetings, man. There's something different comes out of all the meetings that I'm able to get into, and just continue to educate myself and learning and studying my case better, get better at it, more comfortable with the information on being able to present it. Also being able to answer other people's questions to help them understand that they do have the right to fight. If it's not just you just on child support, you got to accept. You know, just continue to be a beacon, try to help others as well as myself.
No doubt, no doubt. I see I got my man, the myth, the legend. Daily, what's good, man?
Not much, not much. Just happy to be alive.
All right, I feel you. So, here everybody comes in. I don't know why. If I say 11, y'all come in at 11:05. I say 12, cats coming at 12:05. I ain't gonna say what that is, but
CPT, baby.
yeah, I see.
Well, for me, somebody just called me right before it started, so
Okay,
that's why I'm late, boss.
I gotta be boss now. Hey,
Sorry,
you know what's
boss.
interesting? You know what's interesting? This is our 11th edition of Barbershop Talk, and I was talking to somebody earlier today about why nobody believes I'll step away, and I'm hoping something's getting ready to take place as I anticipated it before, and I'm like, well, what would be my reason for hanging around? The independent stuff can still go on, but we've done now what 10 plus episodes of child support basics, correct, Daily?
Correct.
We've done how many of the next phase?
I believe about 3 or 4.
No, next phase, not continuing on. We did barbershop talk, then the
The
next
first was
phase.
it was like 10. It was like 10 of them. I think 10
Okay.
or
So
11.
that puts around 20 some odd shows. And then we done this is our 11th episode of Barbershop Talk, which we know this means it's exactly 11 of these. How many different ways can we learn how to make a hamburger? And what's going to be kind of interesting about this show is that something was brought to my attention about a lot of you guys. And I know I say things to you all off air, but they said something to me, and I said, well, no, I believe that the guys are able to come in and do what I think most of the guys are pretty much ready. And he mentioned that he doesn't think most guys have the fortitude to step in. So I guess he'll come in when he gets a chance, and we'll discuss that. But what do you guys think that the major issue is between the differences between what we talk about here and guys that's going in and doing it? You think guys are scared to go into the court? Do y'all think guys are scared to go into the courtroom? I guess is my question. And what's up, Brandon?
I think if guys are still dealing with the mother of their child in a way, they don't want to ruffle any feathers. But I think for the guys that have been completely removed from, that particular relationship and it's doing what you need to get done. I think that's the difference. Guys don't want to ruffle feathers, saying one thing and then doing another versus just standing on business.
Daily?
Yeah, I don't think cats. Well, I think it was more or less cats are scared to do the work. I think they believe that there's some simpler way that it could be done, and rather actually taking the time to do the work and knowing how it works. I think cats would rather find a simpler solution. Unfortunately, I don't know of any so far.
Okay.
Morning, Greg.
Morning. What's up, Brandon? Did he speak?
Not much.
What's your thoughts on it, Brandon? You think guys are afraid, or you think it just being, we're always candid here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's probably a blend. I think there's some of us that have fears. Fear is a good thing. It can be used to your advantage. So, I go into court, when I go into court, I'm not so much scared. My body is in full fight mode. There's not really a difference between me standing in front of my commissioner, which I'm a lot less nervous in front of a judge than I am a commissioner. I'm much more in fight mode with a commissioner. Because I personally believe, like in my heart, that these people run a cash for kids system and they know it. So, so when I'm in front of a commissioner, I know that's her objective. So I'm much more, I feel like I'm about to fight like three people, just like that's how my body is reacting. And my mind is trying to think and process. And it's just a difficult situation. I don't know if it's fear or just, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of emotions.
Cool. Interesting. And give them the breakdown on how they let me know that they want to speak to me, Daily. Oh, my bad, Daily. I accidentally muted you. Hold on. Go ahead, Daily. My fault. Tell them how they do it, Daily, because I'm not that swift at this.
If you had a question, we're proposing in the sense of saying, Greg, if it were you, how would you handle X, Y, and Z situation?
And if they want to get in on the Zoom information after they go through the chat, so we don't have a blow up of the situation.
Oh, I think I could post that. If you wanna talk, tap the screen. You can hit the reaction button, and then when you see that, you can hit the raise your hand, and Greg will unmute you. Well, Greg will give you the option to unmute, and you have to unmute yourself. So
cool. And everybody can see me on the YouTube live, correct?
Yep. I can see it.
Okay, cool. All right, so now we're good to go. So I guess by
the way, sorry, your chat it said chat is turned off.
On what?
On Zoom. Here.
Okay, so let me do this then. So turn on. Now I try it.
Okay, now it's on.
Okay, so if I don't recognize you, then we're gonna have to do some kind of vetting process. And my picture is up on the. Okay, I can see me now. So now, As always, I'm not an attorney. I don't have a license to practice law. I do not practice law. What I've done is study the law and tell people what I've learned and how I gather the information. I'll never give information as advice to apply to your specific case, but it's general information regarding the law and lawful principles, which, by the way, belong to the people. Please use any information obtained for educational edification only. And the reason I say that is because I want nothing I say to be construed to be legal advice. If you feel you need legal advice, I highly encourage you to hire a licensed and hopefully competent attorney and be legally advised. So with that being said, if you wish to continue watching, you may. If you want to turn off, no. But just keep in mind that I'm not giving you anything as legal advice. Even if we speak specifically about an issue that addresses something that's concerning you, it's not advice for you to use for your case. You know, take it with it and use it as you will. All right. So now, anybody else have any thoughts or comments? I don't know if Ken, I think you spoke about it. I don't know if MJ, you wanted to say anything, but it came up to me that most people are not going to try to do what I've done inside of a courtroom, which I don't think is that special. I think everybody can be a different version because your case is different than mine. But I think that most people who have these situations can, in fact, do exactly what I've managed to do. In some instances, because I've had instances where I've not been as successful, and I just managed to go through it. And if anybody else has a comment on it, just say raise your hand, touch the screen, do what? Tap the screen, and then hit the reaction button, and then I can bring you in.
Correct. And then the raised hand is an emoji. It's an emoji that not there is no text. So
okay, I got there. How you doing, Miss Melissa? Long time no see, no here. I think I hit. There you go. How you doing, Miss Melissa?
Hey, I'm doing good. How have you been?
Hey, I still hate the world, but I've been all right. What's going on?
Hey, I've been watching your lives. Like, I don't get to see them live, unfortunately, because my schedule has just been crazy. But I did want to chime in on what I didn't catch his name, but like that fight or flight mode. And I feel the exact same way when I'm in front of a child support magistrate. I feel like I'm ready to box. But when I'm in front of a family court judge or magistrate, it feels so much different because it feels like their intent with the child support department is I'm going to F you 7 ways to Sunday.
Okay.
It really does. Because some of these people are they take advantage of our ignorance. They take advantage of us not knowing, which is why your show is so important and why your message is so important. Like, as a woman, I didn't quite understand the severity of what men went through. I watched my now husband at that time go through child support issues, and I thought I understood. But then as I sit in front of a judge and I'm like, I don't care, I'll pay anything. When do I get to see my son? And he pops off with well, you got to get a divorce. Child support and custody have nothing to do with each other. And I'm like,
true.
What? I was like, Your Honor, this is why men run from the child support system. You are allowing people to use child support as a weapon against good fathers who want to be involved, but you keep them in a perpetual state of renting couches because they can't afford to survive now.
That's an interesting statement about the renting couches thing. And I know it does, there's an economic consequence. Now, so you're a wife and a wife to a individual different aside from the person who your child support situation is involving, correct? Or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
So my ex-husband, I was with my ex from 16 to 26. I've been with the guy I'm with now for the past 14 years. When we first got together,
age 16 to 26.
Yes, age 16 to 26. Sorry.
Okay. Just
27 to now, 14 years. But when I first got with the guy I'm with now of 14 years, he was going through major child support issues. My husband at that time, because divorces are expensive, had taken off with our son. Basically did the exact same thing most women do to men, which is as soon as someone moves on, it's okay, well, now you can't be a parent. So like I saw it firsthand for myself, which is like, it's why I've gotten so involved. I've been representing myself for about 12 years now. I have actually, because of your advice,
No, not advice.
well, no, my bad, my bad. It's not advice. This is knowledge that you share. It is something that I had read over and over and over, but it was you saying it, and it was the way you said it that I was like, wait a minute, I've read that before. So I pulled up Google, I looked at the Florida statutes, chapter 120, freedom of information, records request.
19, but yeah.
So,
120 is
oh,
preservation and rest.
119.
And chapter
That's
119 is sunshine. Yeah. Keep going. I'm
yeah,
with you.
119, 120. But it was a lot of times we doubt ourselves, but the information that you share,
Ah,
like, and that's another thing I was going to say is like when we're in front of a judge, if we even get there, because the paperwork is very scary, because it tells you every step of the way you should hire an attorney. You know, this is legal paperwork. If you make a mistake, it makes you really feel kind of afraid to take that jump, you know? What if I fill this out wrong? I'm not really committing perjury that I know of because I'm trying to tell the truth, but what if something gets twisted around and I don't say it right and then it looks like I'm lying? Like there's so many things that like can really halt us from turning in that packet of papers. So the knowledge that you share and like mentioning them, I will confirm what you have said before. Nobody should know your case better than you.
oh, you do
Like,
listen then,
oh,
huh?
I do. I do. I listen all the time. Unfortunately, I have to watch them as reruns, but it's so true. Like, once I started really, really researching what are my problems? What are my goals? What do I want out of this? I started listening to the things you said, and it's just you've gone through this. This is what worked for you. You're not telling me to do that. That's like it's so frustrating when you go to court and you're like, well, what are my options? Oh, well, I can't give you advice. I didn't ask you which one you do. I'd asked you which is available to me. I'll make the decision on which one I want to do. But it's like you provide such a clear, concise, we've read it. We know the knowledge, but hearing it from you, it's like, oh, I was right. Because I think we all doubt ourselves.
Understandable. I think I had two streams going. So I'll tell everybody out there who's on YouTube who can't see me. Apparently, there's two streams going, and the name you'll see on your YouTube. Because I'm looking at my iPad, and I do see Melissa's name. So I think you have to go to that one. And you know, I'm not that technically savvy. I'm not like Dele and some of these other people I got here, tech guys. But go to the other one, and you'll be able to see the information because Melissa is actually typing in there and on the live. So I don't know what I have to do or how you all are seeing it that way, but not seeing it here. And in fact, I'm looking at me the same way I see myself on the Zoom. So I'm going to shut down this live. And what I'll do is it will leave you with only one place to go. So you all go over to the other one and we'll pick it and you can pick it up from there. And I'm talking to you, Matrix, C-Matic, and you all should be able to see it on the other side. And I apologize. But you know, when I do my editing, we'll pick it up and you'll have everything. So that way you won't miss anything. Just go to my what is it, Greg Doss GD NAPSC on YouTube. And actually you go to my main page, you're gonna see the actual live. When I end this one, you'll see the actual live. And I see there's 5 people actually in here. So everybody who's watching on the live where you can't see me, if you go to the other live, you'll actually see not only my image, but you'll see Melissa's has typed already inside the chat room. And Melissa, if you can put the information I gave you with the like, subscribe, donate, and the Zoom information, put that inside there, inside the window on the live that everybody can see me on. And that way I can shut down this one and then you all will be able to go to the other one. Because I do see me on my main page. In fact, here.
By the way, the Zoom link and the IDs on that live chat.
You all see right here, where the one I'm circling now. So anybody who's watching, if you go to my main page, you'll see this. My main page looks the same to you all as it does to me, right? As you're looking at the screen, you all should see where it says Daily iPad. I'm going to shut this one right here down. And then you all should just click on this link and you should be ready to go, which I don't know why the other one isn't. Well, yeah, okay, I'll just leave them both up. So you all want to go to the other one, just go to the other one. Because I want to get to what the topic is supposed to be about, which is the president allegedly saying that people don't, and I did never see it. I never saw him say that people don't have to pay support if you're the primary. I mean, if you're paying support. So let's go ahead and get this stuff over here. And again, this is not legal advice. This is something that to me should be one of the easiest. Well, I shouldn't say to me. One of the things that should be simple for everybody, and it goes back to the whole idea of what I call misinformation in the hood. But here you go, people. All I did was Google when somebody said it to me. And specifically to say this, if he said female child support recipients can no longer receive claim, that may be a 14th Amendment violation. But I just went here to find out he didn't say it. Here's the claim. U.S. President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that a woman who receives child support from a man can no longer claim the child on her taxes. False. We found no evidence of such a post on Truth Social or X. Trump has said he would expand the child tax credit during his second term in office. That can mean any number of things. And so that right there speaks for itself. And I believe I put that inside of the link for everything else that we've had. But there it is. Just Google it. Did he say it? And move forward from there. But all you have to do, if you want to know how the United States tax code, which is Title 26, see that? And typically enacted, these sections in IRC can be found in Title 26 U.S. Code. There you go. Certain things, and I don't know how it's gotten this way, and I don't want to lose my mind. I know most of you people are probably younger than I am, but I know you all had to take some form of American government just to get out of high school. And I know it may have been boring to some of you all. It was kind of boring to me. I never would have thought it would have been the direction I turned for academics, but the president is not a king. It's like people think that he is, but the president's not a king. If we had a female president, she wouldn't be a queen. Her powers are checked by Constitution. And this whole notion, and there you go right there, Title 26. That's all you have to do, people. And anything you want to know about the rule, there you go. And I don't think we have to get into it, but what I want to talk about is how such misinformation takes off like wildfire. Particularly, and I said the hood, I should say the community or society in general. How bad information, misinformation, everything from what was one of the other more popular things, child support is unconstitutional, child support is fraud. No, they're not unconstitutional. Child support is not unconstitutional. I think we've done a video on that, haven't we, Dele?
Correct.
We've done a couple of them, done a show on it, I believe. But just go and look, and even the case that seemed to have been popularly cited by so many uninformed people is it Holmberg or Holmgren, whatever, the Holmberg case. I went through the whole case. It's out of Minnesota. And crazy enough, it's out of Minnesota. And where do you live, Dele?
Minnesota.
Yeah. And if you read it for what's there, it's clear. And instead of, I would say this, a good practice for me has always been if somebody says something, go check it. Even if you find 3 sources. And don't just look for what you're looking for. Part of researching is trying to find something that contradicts what you think. I'm about to give up my numbers when I should be on Blog Talk. This is a discussion. If you have any thoughts or comments or any questions about anything, because this is Barbershop Talk, it's like we've gotten into this point where we're just passing on bullshit. And it's detrimental to people. And some phrases can be catchy, but if it's a catchy phrase, just treat it as a catchy phrase. Don't treat it as some all-knowing source. Hell, don't treat me as some all-knowing source. I can only tell you what I've done. I just try to put out there in front of people because I want people to take what I've done. It's like, great ball players watch other great ball players. Why? so that they can kind of pick up some of their, their ways of doing things and hopefully implement it in what they do. I sat in courtrooms and watched attorneys. I've gone online and watched attorneys. I've studied judges. I have a tendency to know how they tend to move and what they tend to like over time, particularly judges that I know I'm going to be in front of. At least that's what I did, especially for my criminal cases. Well, all my traffic cases were criminal, but when I had the perjury case, I had an idea of who the judges were. And I also do research on their background. It's out there, where they went to school. You read the judges, even though I didn't do it for Judge Oster, read the judge's preferences. It's like anything else you want to be successful at. You have to study the opponent. And if you don't, you're not going to be successful in most. I shouldn't say that because that's too broad. I've never had success not being prepared. Never. You all may be better than me. I think you all can do this better than me and do everything better than I've ever done it. And you can help more people. I'm just sharing what I've done. Daly, you have a comment before I go back to Melissa? I want to ask you another comment. Hope it doesn't come across as being sexist, Melissa, but I'm gonna ask you a comment after we after Daly gives his comment, if he has one, on what we've been talking about so far.
No, I don't. Go ahead.
Okay, your comment first, Melissa, and then I'll ask you my question.
So, have you done or will you do any kind of topic relating to old cases that are pretty old, where you find indications of major fraud or violations of rights, like clear cut? Because, like, my case, as you know, originated, well, for the people listening, my case, I'm about to file what I imagine is going to be the last one. My son just turned 18 January 19th. But I found where my due process rights were violated. My right to, specifically, so when I first got dragged to child support court, and I say that because I had told him where I was, tried to file for the divorce. He was supposed to meet with me. As soon as I told him that I had the papers and we needed to file, he filed welfare, left off his mother and his brother on the welfare application, even though they all lived together.
What state?
Florida, Manatee County. So, fast forward a while, Uniform Child Custody and Jurisdiction Enforcement Act paper that he signed under oath says that during those years that he filed for the welfare that gave him a Department of Revenue attorney, he puts on the UCCJEA that he had all those people in his house. Well, sir, which is it? How did you get welfare?
Hold on. I don't. This sounds a little bit more like a private situation. To answer your question,
Well,
if we're going to talk about am I going to do a case about my cases were old? You may want to go look at. Go look at chapter 39.
Yes.
Google chapter 39. I think that's fraud. If you're arguing that he committed fraud, in order to get the agency involved, don't conflate that with the agency committing fraud to get the order, because the agency would have relied on the of the
no. I'm saying, like, for him, he committed the fraud, which in turn the court used, and they, based on what the other parent tells the court or tells child support, that forms their opinion. So, like, they're biases. Most of the time it's a bias towards men.
Hold on, so I can get to my question to you. So I'm going to address each one of those things because they're separate. In fact, put them in the chat, and then that way I can look at it, because I can see you clearly. I don't know why no one else, the other guys on the other one won't just go over to this one. But let me ask you a question, and this is something that I've just wondered for years. If more women had these issues, would the information as I disseminated be more palatable? In other words, would more women gravitate to this kind of information if more women were facing this issue? Then
Absolutely.
Okay, that's my thought.
Absolutely. Hands down. Because before I had went through it, I wasn't just going to sit there and research it. You know what I mean? I had to go through this, which is why a lot of the men that I've talked to about getting involved in 50-50 fathers' rights, they're like, Melissa, you, with your education, with your actual lived experience, you could do something that a lot of men cannot do. Because a lot of these legislators and a lot of these people who are responsible for making our bills and passing our laws, they're so used to hearing the men cry. That's what they say. Oh, he's just crying about this. But when it comes from a woman who says, no, Your Honor or Sir, I'm going to validate what all of these men have been saying. This is what happens. Like, hostility towards the payor parent. I don't know if anyone else has felt that, but like, the man I'm with now used to come out of court defeated, crushed, crumbled, because they would not give him the time of day to say his side of the story. They didn't care. It was, we want to get the max.
So I guess that's pretty interesting. Put in the chat room or just text me with the 2 questions, because you have my number. We've spoken before, and I'll address it. Now, as to whether or not I'm going to do any extra shows specifically geared to that, I'm setting up my page to put everything into the membership column, and then we're going to Daylay has a bunch of the cases that we're going to a number of the topics that I'm going to address, and then I'll go with it from there for sure, and people can get in. Put this in a YouTube chat. Let me see something. I don't know how to do that without. I got somebody just text me something, but at any rate, I can do classes on how to when fraud was initiated. Okay, so if you believe that the court relied on information that was that, because you may argue newly discovered evidence, go to 12.540 and look at B. And some of those may be newly discovered, but it would be the time, your argument would be the time that I newly discovered. At least that would be my argument. And then 1 year from the time that you discovered it to be absolute fraud. And or you could I know I forgot the second question was. Let me look at it. Not sure how to raise my hand. Okay, you did that one already. I thought you just said, okay. When you find out that their response to petition support was timely filed but ignored. That's a little bit interesting. If no more than 1 year less is fraud on the court. Well, the fraud would have been perpetrated on the court. If his financial affidavit was fraudulent, then you can a miscalculation argument can be raised at any time. But let's just do it this way. Let's pull this up. But this is a little bit different than the topic of Donald Trump. Well, I think we pretty much explained it. It doesn't take a whole hell of a lot to argue that one. So let's go to the the hood gets bad information, and sometimes people do as well. They get a lot of bad information regarding what exactly is and what isn't a case. And what we do here is we address it for what it is. So go to your screens. Does everybody see the what do you all see on the screen now, Daylay?
Parallel search.
Okay, so let's go into the parallel search thing. So let's see. That's not the question. So the argument is that the financial affidavit was your argument is your financial affidavit was not accurate, correct? put in the chat room for us?
I believe it was his financial affidavit was
Okay. Okay. A fraudulent. See if we get that. We're in Florida, correct? I gotta get my glasses. Let's do this. Let's see if we can get something here. So we're trying to borrow by release of summary judgment was improper. Was proper. As a 5, this court finds this is a complaint, then this is not necessarily. So it must have been a subsequent action filed. I guess coercion do not constitute exchange would permit this. Court certified conflict with Lamb on this case. Finally, the district court concluded that 1993 amendment to the Florida Rule of Procedure was inapplicable to this final judgment of dissolution, which was entered here. Could not be set aside. Let's see that one. It's not that one ain't gonna help you. So that might be one you might want to look at. So let's look at this. So you don't want to use this one. Let's come out of that one. This case may not work, but let me go find this right here. It was an independent alleging this. I want you to use 1.54 instead of 12. It's the same thing, but anyway. Okay, who cares about that? We don't care about that. I don't care about that. Full agreement, in this case, full agreement constitute full and complete of alimony and claims that each party may have against the other. So that might be what the issue came down to, is what they in here. Are you still there, Melissa? See, I'm not looking at something. You see that, Melissa? Can you see that, Melissa?
Yeah, sorry, you were right. I was looking something up. I was trying to find the rule under mistake, inadvertence, newly discovered evidence. I was trying to find the rules of procedure because the one, it's a couple down. That's what I was looking up, but release of all.
But hold on. This is based upon what they said whatsoever, whatever nature. So without looking, and I'm gonna tell y'all this again. I think I've said it in a couple of my other ones. Without looking at the specifics of anybody's situation, and even if you had an attorney, without the attorney seeing the specifics of your situation, they probably could not give you an adequate answer. And I'm not an attorney. I don't pretend to be one. But I can't help you if I don't see exactly what it is that the issue that you're raising. I just kind of did this through a broad scope based on what you said. But I knew that if you found somewhere you're going to find in there, but that might be the that might be the one that messed up the claims whatsoever. Release of all claims whatsoever. So that may have been one reason why the court didn't do it that way. But let's go back to here where we saw fraud. Let's try this one. Why is this thing doing this to me? God damn way. Let's come out of this one. Come over here. Let's do this. And as y'all can see, that the search tool that I use is only like $100 a month. Okay, I mean, I do that one. Let's see. Let's see what we get out of here. I don't know if you raised that issue, but I think that may be beneficial. And I don't know what that might be. This one didn't come up with a bad citing, but two separate grounds for a trial court to set aside a post-nuptial agreement, which was to apply to prenuptials, whatever. Only the first ground is relevant to this appeal, and the first ground the spouse may set aside a modifying agreement by establishing that it was reached under fraud. And let's go here. So hopefully I'm getting you somewhere along the way to prove that that's not right. What the fuck am I doing? Let's see what we got going on here. So it seems like we may have to, it's what you may have to do. And you know what you could probably do is go to and see if there's a set of instructions, because I don't think it'd be jury instructions, but see if there's a set of instructions and then outline specifically what it is that you are alleging constituted the fraud on the court, and then just put it together, and then they'll go with it from there. And it should probably get you there, no matter what the case's age is. And then you had to argue it. And sometimes you may want to move to create some sort of new standard or new law when it comes to how the court would look at it. But it seems to be pretty straightforward. You just have to prove it. Allege and prove it. The direct method involves affirmative proof of the fraud, misstatements, deceit, etc. The indirect method allows the party seeking to invalidate a property settlement agreement. You got to see if that applies for marital settlement agreements. To prove the agreement is unreasonable on its face, thereupon a presumption arises that the opposite party concealed his assets. And that's marital settlement. I don't know if that's a part of what your situation is, because it keeps going to marital settlement. You want to go ahead and do enough research that's directed specifically at what I'm hearing is the amount of child support that you're being obligated to pay. So hopefully that answered your question. So I just lost something. Did that help you out at all, Melissa?
Yeah, that's not really the issue for me. It's really just like, oh shit, I'm sorry guys. I didn't realize that when I'm done looking I can lower the hand. But no, for me it's the formatting and not being confident. And I think that goes back to that question or the statement that the first guy that I referenced. When you're standing in front of a magistrate or a family court judge, it's a little different than standing in front of that hearing officer. It's the intimidation. It's like the confidence. Like you exude confidence. And I know it takes a while to get there. You've had a lot of time and experience, but like for a lot of us, we know what we want to say. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I speak for everybody else, but like I know what I want to say and I know that I've read the laws. I know that I'm interpreting them properly. But it's like as soon as they start to try to shut me down and talk over me, I'm going to start getting mouthy. Or I'm going to get emotional. And you know, because this is like a child support matter going in the wrong direction can ruin a person's entire life. Like one,
Yeah.
and that's the problem. And that's what, like, that's one of the things that I'm struggling to professionally and say with some etiquette is like, this one disastrous day set my life on a snowball effect. Sorry, I'm in North Carolina and it snowed about 10 inches last night. Crazy. But this stuff can literally set our life on a course for the worst shit possible. And like this one thing, I've lost jobs because of it. Like I've been turned down for credit, like being able to build my life and improve my life, which then in turn it makes it impossible for us to get more time sharing with our kids, which that's the only thing that lowers your child support obligation, really. But how do you do that when this one event has totally you know what I mean?
I
So it's,
think that is the question. So here's where we are now. Then the question definitely is, and I probably am dreading even asking it this way: do I make it look too easy? Uh-oh, we went away. Do I make it look easy? Anybody? Do I make it look easy?
you do, but then when we're standing there, because like I watched a bunch of your videos before my last court hearing, right? And I'm like, I got this, I got this, I got this. I went in and I'm like, oh fuck, I don't got this. Like it goes away. You make it look like we can do this. And it's like, and we listen to you, obviously, like you said, oh, you do listen. um you give good knowledge and it's the knowledge that we need. You're not advising us, you're not telling us what you should do, what, oh Melissa, I think you should do this. You're telling me, well, based on what you said, this is where you can find this information. Maybe it applies to you. But then when we get into that courtroom, I feel like that's where the disconnect is. Maybe some other guys in here can, I don't know, maybe it's just me.
Okay, I don't know if that's a hand or let me see. I got a hand up. I got I got a couple of them. BA, and then I don't know if Jimmy, your hand was up when I told you to unmute, but do you all relate to go second, Jimmy. BA, go first. Do
Hey,
you?
what's up, everyone? Yeah, I understand the part of getting frustrated when you go in there. I talk to you separately a lot, and I've told you I don't have any fear of anybody. Um, I don't really care what's going on the other side. I just want to go and take care of what I got to take care of. So I'm not afraid. I just get frustrated when I present things that to me are pretty clear and concise, and they start throwing things at me like, "Oh, we can't do this, we can't do that," and I'm like, "The hell? What are you talking about? Like, take a look at what I'm presenting to you, and then it'll be clear." But I don't know. I'm on the fence as far as do you make it look too easy? I feel like you know what you're doing because of experience, so it does appear easy to, I guess, myself, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that particular situation there. I don't think this is easy for anybody. I think what you preach is doing the work and getting after, and making sure you know what you're talking about before you go and throw some things on the table that you haven't fact checked. So that's that. Is that what you're asking right now? Is that what we're talking about?
Do I make okay. I sincerely believe that everybody can get great results if the facts of their case leads to them being eligible for some sort of relief. And everybody has seen what I've gone through, not in just this kind of in the child support, how I handle the child support case or deal with the child support issue, but as well as how I deal with other kinds of issues. Do I make it look easy?
I would. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't interrupt.
The last thing I was gonna say. So again, I mean, honestly, to me, it doesn't look easy at all. I'm not sure if that's your intent or if you don't want it to look like that. But to me, I watch a lot of videos, and go over a lot of stuff that's available. I gotta get with some of the guys because we were gonna buy one of the those case stacks or whatever, and I don't know where that went. But to me, it doesn't look easy. The other thing I was gonna ask is, I know that everybody here, or most of us, have the desire to go to the courtroom and sit there and try to learn. But one wall that I'm facing is, here in PA, I got the link to go look at the schedule, but the schedule doesn't allow you to look at anything. Like you can't just go in there and put like between
something happened.
I'm sorry about that. You can't go in here and put like, I want to see what hearings are happening between January 1st and March 3rd, and it will show you everything. You could put a date in there, but it won't tell you anything unless you put a defendant's or anybody involved's name. And I mean, the only person I know would be myself, and I don't want to. I mean, I already have to sit on my own stuff. So, is that any different for you, or how would you move about that kind of barrier if you want to go learn how things work either one. I guess they don't let you sit in child support stuff here, but custody, they may.
Well, I think child support may be an issue. Well, I guess it depends on how it's set up. I will say this. The child support aspect, I did not get to view other cases in, so let me make sure I clear that up. I just took in the information and I began to listen. Instead of worrying so much about how I was going to respond, I was listening to the dialogue coming at me. And when I went from not knowing anything, when I started doing some study, I understood how to, and I don't set anybody up with the questions, but I understood what the issues, I started learning what my issues were before I even understood what Iraq was, is what was it that I was trying to get accomplished. And maybe it was a blessing from on high or whatever, but I knew that my issue was the original order. So when I'm talking to people and they're saying all this other stuff, is I just started to dissect the order for what the order contained. And but I learned a lot about handling other cases or dealing with my other cases because I did go sit in courtrooms, and I did have an attorney when I sued UPS. So I understood a little bit about federal procedure, but not a lot. Definitely wasn't where I am now. And I just started reading the same rules that I knew lawyers had to follow. I started reading the same rules that I knew judges had to follow. And then some of it's just kind of natural. I've done 4,000 radio shows, so speaking wasn't going to be an issue. Being a union steward allowed me to deal with adversarial relationships and adversarial engagement. So I had that. I'm unapologetically not fucking stupid. So, I may do stupid things, but I'm not dumb. So I just picked it up, and then I started understanding that it was more about what were the legal issues that I was trying to overcome. And that's what kind of helped me. So hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, I did do a lot of studying. Just like when I played sports, it's the same thing. You got to study the opponent, understand the terrain, understand where you are, military, but understand what you're dealing with. And then it helped me as far as addressing it a lot better.
So I'm sorry. So I know there's other people waiting. So my question was pretty much, how did you find out what times or what days you wanted to go? Okay, I want to go sit in.
Oh, I just randomly. I made it a point of it. Listen, I knew I wanted to get this stuff off my back, so I didn't find excuses for saying no. I found I everything was based upon saying yes. I never found a reason to avoid figuring something out. And I tried to talk to other people, and then I realized that I couldn't. A lot of people didn't want to talk about their situations, or what have you. And that's, I just kind of separated myself. Essentially, I separated myself from the people who just wanted to complain, and so I found reasons to find a way to get into everything, no matter where it was. And if somebody else had something, I just went and sat in on it if I could. If I couldn't, I would just ask them how it went.
Yeah, I just, I even called and went on the website, and I can't find when they're having this custody hearings for me to go, study a little bit. So I guess I'm just gonna have, I
But
guess
the
at some point
process
just
is the
go.
same, though. BA, the process, the topic may be different, but the process is the same. Does that make
I
sense?
understand that. Yeah, what I'm saying is that I can't. Oh, you mean that any general hearing, even though it's not. Okay, I got you.
Oh yeah,
I'll let somebody else go then.
I said it on murder trials, but I wasn't, I wasn't worried about murder. So, but I just wanted to watch how they conducted themselves within the proceedings.
All right, man. Thank you.
No problem. Jimmy, you had a thought or comment before as well?
You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
To the comment about if you make it look easy, I don't know if everybody remember the first time, like myself, if you just going in there and you're not even thinking about or knowing any of your rights or position that you can take, you're just coming in there and participating in the show, just a participant. So, and then you can feel how that setting is. So in that setting, you're coming in just to participate. You're not even aware of at that time, pro se, you got any rights to speak for yourself or any of that outside of an attorney. And so you go in there and there are attorneys in there for the Title 40 agency. The hearing officers are matches in there. And then you got the bailiffs and stuff around, and then you kind of get in there and it's just yes, 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 scripted, and you're in and out. And then once you find out, however you find out that you can come in and start speaking up for yourself and not going along with it, because most times people stand for the attorney to go in and speak for them at that time anyways, with those type of cases. So over the time period, once you get familiar going in there, I know that there's always butterflies. Some people don't do well with just social anxiety or anxiety, period. I remember having anxiety because I didn't deal with anxiety early on in life, but I remember just going into that building, going into some of the, I don't know how small the room is in different states and cities and counties in different areas, but in the one I'm in, this Florida area over Manatee County, been in different rooms. And of course, the room is bigger when you go in there where you're in there in front of the actual, I guess, circuit judge versus you're in there in front of the hearing officer. Those seem to be smaller rooms. And they used to allow people to come in and sit in. And then sometimes it seemed like they start trying to shun that. But once I started going in and not just going in with the scripted stuff that they were giving, I would say this too. Like if all of us are coming in, we're doing the same thing, we're starting at the same place, and it's like a class. There's always going to be, if you're looking in the class, you're going to know who's like the top of the class, like how they answer the questions that's being asked. You can just look around and tell that. So you can kind of gauge where you at versus how sharp someone else is. But then you don't know their story, like they don't know yours of what their life has been to before this point, even if all us close to the same age. How are your parents? What was your father teaching you? What did they do? You know, how your life was that caused you to engage, to be aware of just your wits and your understanding, how you're built. And so we're all a little bit different in that. But if we're all in school and class, you can call us, look around and say, yeah, some people are a little bit better. They got this. But we all got an opportunity to graduate, to complete the course. And it's kind of, and then we have to engage. Now, at that point, it's up to us. Now, once you get in there, to me, it's about the sparring. The more I kept going into that hearing, once I was aware of that I can file and do things for myself and speak for myself, it took a little bit of time to get over. I remember I just had to go to the bathroom. I feel like I'm having hot flashes, my anxiety. But one thing I did know is I knew that I can go stand up for myself, and I knew that it was not letting them keep bending me over. So regardless, so I just started getting over that kind of fear or that whatever. And I think anytime when you get up, if you just start moving forward, if you experience this at some point, those butterflies will start going away, and then something just kind of clicks in. And the more you do it, the stronger you'll start getting in that area. And then also, even no matter how much you study information, I look at what you say, and you want to do that. You want to be sharp on that, because then I have a level of confidence myself. And I'm confident enough that I might not can't go in there and deliver the way that I see Greg deliver when he has his, but I'm going to deliver enough in my way to be me. But when I know the information, when it's time to respond back, because it's the back and forth, most of the time is where we get caught up in, entangled in our ability to respond. And of course, they're sharp and witted with that. And most of the times, intentionally, they know that. But if you watch enough of Greg's stuff, you see that he's sharp enough to where I've seen him be better than some of them that's in there, stronger than those that are licensed to be in there. And it's just like, And I can see where he'd start asking questions and leading them. So then that's what we want to get our strength up to, ability to where, I'm able to counter back. And I think that's where they get us. So, and then also getting your tape, going and reviewing it. Like in football film, fights or anything, he would say, hey, go get your tape. You can go right down there, get it, listen to it. And early on this time period, we wasn't as busy as he was. Fortunately for me, he could critique mine and tell me, okay, this is what was going on that if I would have did, if I were you, he would show me those things. But you have to be able to do that to yourself too, because you know when you're strong and when you're not. And when you sit back and you listen to it and you're not in the heat of it, you can learn from it. So I don't think that we do enough more of that. But that's an important part of the growth and finding out, okay, what the angle and asking all the questions. And then sometimes when you get out of there, you remember, man, I didn't say this when I should have said that, or I didn't ask this. And then, you start realizing their formula and what they're using and speaking, and you get stronger, because I got stronger against someone that left my area and went to his area, and he had to deal with it. And I did pretty good with them. And there's times when you're gonna do good, when you get strong, and then they might put a stronger person than who you are before you. Or they're going to go do some studying and figure out how to, keep you going in that same loop or that circle. But I just say keep at it. That's when you're going to get better at it. Just staying at it and being more informed, because it's really in the information. All we need is inside the information, And we see, if you can see that he's got it and he can get there, that lets me know that it can be done. That means I got to get stronger. I got to become better in whatever that area is that I'm weaker in.
That's an interesting statement. I'm a big Godfather fan. And I remember Michael Corleone when he was on the island right before he met with Hyman Roth. And I don't know if any of you guys watched The Godfather other than to see people get shot up, but there's messages in there. And one of the messages that Michael brought back was he said he was telling him how he watched a person go blow themselves up. And Hyman Roth asked him, what does that mean? And people might forget that Michael Corleone was a decorated military. I think he's in the Marines, but he's a decorated military veteran. And he said, the people who soldiers fight for, they fight for pay. That's their job. the other people fight because they believe in the cause. And Hyman Ross said, well, what does that mean to you? He said, it means that they can win. I tell you guys all the time, the only person we are the only ones in the office when we walk inside that cubicle, those four corners, or if it's circular, I don't know if it's a rotunda of any shape or form. But when you walk in there, everybody in there, with the exception of you and potentially whoever your named adversary may be, whether it's the spouse or the ex-spouse or whomever, everybody else is a professional. What is it that drives you to fight? That's probably what more people need to be asking themselves, because Greg can't answer that for you. I just knew that I was tired of what I was going through, and I was determined to win. And I knew that I couldn't win just saying dumb shit like child support is fraud. No knock on anybody, or saying child support is unconstitutional. That just didn't make any sense. That didn't even resonate with me based upon my academic training, because I knew if it was unconstitutional, it wouldn't be going on anywhere. And if it was fraud, then I know that fraud has to be played with specificity. Maybe it was done through some fraudulent means, but if I don't specifically state what the fraudulent means were, I'm just saying, it's like, what is it called? It makes people like hit on a site. Like, you come to my site, you got the right kind of name. Yeah, clickbait. Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's clickbait. But I'll stand on the fact that if somebody's done something, they can show you what they've done. It doesn't tell you how they did it. I just am not that interested in trying to withhold anything. I mean, yeah, I have services, but at the end of the day, I want to see everybody win. But I think what people can get from my experiences, they have to find value in it. If you find value in it and you don't utilize it while it's here, then that's not on Greg. I can only do what I can do. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a preacher. I don't pretend to be one. I'm not an attorney. I don't pretend to be one. I'm just somebody who got fed up and said, F this. Let's let my hands go in a figurative way. And then you all can see how the results. And sometimes I don't get them when I want them. And then I've had cases I've missed out on because I missed deadlines, which is another reason why when I say I had to make this a little bit more streamlined, I'm stepping away, is because I have things that I have going on as well, people. I got high-end cases. I've had the fortunate pleasure to work with attorneys and do research and learn from them, and I bring it to you all because I want you all to win. But anybody who's selling you on some fancy shit, they're lying to you. I don't know who is out there doing it. We have a general term for them called the package boys and all that. That's all bullshit. Bullshit. And if it works that easily, tell them to show you where that specifically got them their results. Because there's going to be a record of it somewhere. So that being said, hopefully everybody, because it didn't take a whole lot to address that Donald Trump didn't say that if you pay support that the mother can't claim the child on the taxes. The support, who gets to claim the child or earned income or what have you, goes to who provides for the majority of the maintenance. And if there's some other form or parenting agreement, generally the court will have already established who gets to claim the child for purposes of income taxes. And then that's for the people to good job, Melissa. Is it true that is that people have to start being a little bit more adults? I mean, shit, we're grown.
What's going on?
What's going on, Chris?
Yeah, I just wanted to say about that Trump thing. I kind of knew it was not realistic, because usually when they doing parenting time, they divide it with basically in child support. What you pay is what the basically reimbursing the mom for what she pays for day-to-day care expenses of the child. So I kind of had questions about when they were saying that anyway. It didn't really make sense to me, but yeah.
I don't know. It's about no reimbursement. It's about contribution to the child's well-being. You don't have to reimburse a parent for being a parent. That's what they are. It's a contribution to the child's overall maintenance. But it's usually broken down as to how it works. The question was, do I make it look easy? And if I make it look easy, it's not easy to me. For one, I work hard at it. My experiences are not necessarily tied to child support. I have, unfortunately, more that are tied to some other goofy shit, but it did help. As far as the child support experience helped me with the criminal experiences, And then when I had to circle back around, the criminal experiences helped me address the child support in the manner that you all saw it. Because the things that I bring up now, I didn't know when it was going on. It just so happened that some of those issues are fundamental errors that would require reversal. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I had one more question. I know in Georgia they changed the law when it came to child support. They have a cost of living uh deviation for inflation. So fellas, look out for that. Yeah, just look out for that when y'all going into courts and battling. You know, make sure y'all look up in y'all state laws what changed within 2024, 2025.
You should always be checking to see what changes in the law. I don't know what that would have to do with necessarily with an old order. If they're coming back to give an increase, and the increase, find out what the rule is for granting an increase. An increase is considered a modification. If they're modifying, find out what the rules for modification are, and go with it from there. All right, listen. Anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments, anything in the chat room? I'm looking at anybody.
Oh, I was gonna say to that question, if you make it look easy, you got a little bit of time for me to.
Yeah.
I think I might have even forgot what I was gonna say, but I was gonna say, yeah, you do make it look easy, but let me just be clear. I wouldn't be here if you didn't make it look easy. Like if I'm struggling, I'm not going to somebody else struggling to, help me out. But I think people always forget that that is the goal, right? To make it look easy, to make it look like, you understand the terrain and what is to come, and, you can anticipate things, right? Because for me, I feel like I'm on the path, and I'm using myself as an example, where it's like I was just in a hearing last week. And normally when I'm in the hearing for my cases, it's like they'll throw 10 things at me, and I'm here screaming about everything they throw. Whereas like now I'm like, yeah, that don't make sense. That's not relative. That's not. So now I'm just sitting back while they're all yelling. I'm like, that's not relevant to this case. And part of me saying that, people don't want to do the work, this is what all goes into it. You have to learn how to control your emotions. You have to learn how to articulate yourself, in addition to looking up the rules and the issues. Because when you get in there, they're going to try to distract you, And even the law says ignorance of the law is not a defense. You can't come in and say, well, I don't know. Well, I hate to be the one to tell you, they're just going to run you over, But you have to understand how to control all those things. And those things do take effort. Like I've known you how long, like 6 months or whatnot, 5 months. I've been coming to almost every time you pop up on YouTube or Zoom, I'm there. So for me, I'm at the point now where now we have conversations where I can see exactly the strategy that they're coming at me now, where it's like, okay, yeah, that's funny, but we're not going to do that. So the goal is to end up being where Greg did, because even when you look at the evolution Greg went through, and when you show that first audio, and I was like, okay, that Greg and this Greg are two completely different people as far as articulating their issue and going about, what they're looking for. But that's all encompasses what it means about doing the work to me. So.
Right, and I would think that people would expect me to evolve from the beginning. But that's why I tell you, go listen to me in the beginning, even the very first audio of me inside the courtroom, where I actually, my heart's pumping, 100,000 beats per minute. The first time I said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and try to self-represent based upon what I watched Leon do. And by the way, shout out to Leon. Prayers out to Leon, and healthy and healing vibes out to my man Brett. Hopefully he gets better and gets back in here soon as well. But I just had to walk through it.
Right.
There's no way for me to do it without walking through it.
Same here. And I mean, when I'm in there, I know I'm nervous. Actually, the hearing I was last week, normally when I sit, I didn't realize when I sit, I'm more nervous than when I stand up. I sit up the whole hearing. These little things where I'm even realize, okay, how do I overcome my weaknesses to be able to allow me to get to where I need to go? It might be just as simple as instead of sitting down, stand up.
Well, one other thing is within that is also the honesty at one hand. Like I say, sometimes it's not about right or wrong, but even if you have that discussion with yourself, people have to be honest with themselves. And I was honest enough to say I knew what I didn't know. So when I was seeking information, I wasn't trying to show the person who I was asking the question that I'm already smarter than them or I know more. I'm absorbing the information, and what I do is take the information and then I go on my own time and I, dissect the information to see what I can pull out of it that's going to be beneficial. So I don't know. I just prepare how I prepare, and that has been very beneficial to me, not only for child support, but with my auto negligence stuff, my criminal cases, my criminal driving cases, and even the criminal case that was falsely against me. I use the same approach each time. Ken, you had a thought, question, comment?
Yeah, yeah. For me, on the making it look easy part, it's the you make it to where you could really have confidence on yourself with going in more than one time. Like, because when you've been in there one or two times and it didn't go the way you thought it would go, and you thought you was prepared before actually meeting you, talking to you, and watching you, and then when you go in and you come out with a different result, it still feels like a win. It still feels like progress because you're built and you're building to go in there for more than one round. And so after watching you numerous of times, it's like, all right, we're gonna do this however long it takes till I get the relief that I'm going for. So for me, I would say that making it look easy is more like a boost of confidence that it could be done based on how you present yourself, your case, and how confident you are going in and coming out, even if it doesn't go the way you wanted to go the first time. Just know you can come back stronger because we've already watched you do it on many cases.
Okay, that's cool. Appreciate it. Brandon. I can't hear you, Brandon.
Oh, I was just clapping for what he just said. I agreed wholeheartedly.
Okay, I appreciate it. And again, I don't try to deceive anybody. I just put it out there the way it is. And I don't try to sell you on something being easy because I understand the consequences of rejection sometimes weigh heavy with different people. So I'm not a therapist. I don't pretend to be one of those either. But I do understand what it's like to be. I know what it's like to go in there and not win. I know it's like to go in there and get pushed around and come out feeling like less of a person. But I'm gonna tell you, I also know how good it feels to give some of that work back. I love giving them back that work. So if you're a person who wants to give back work, hey, it's perfect. This is the thing. But I would say that if it were me and you asked me the question, Greg, what would you do in order to get these kind of results? I would say I'd put in the study. And if I knew somebody somewhere, one, I'd say get an attorney. But if you want to get an attorney, if you get an attorney, make sure that you're the best possible client for that attorney so that you can get your results. Anybody else have any thoughts or comments? We'll say hit the screen if you want to ask a question or what have you. But again, this does take work and it's going to help you get, if you want anything in life, you have to work for it. Let me see somebody. Yeah. By the way, when I send you all a message, just tell me who you are, and that could possibly help us get here. But we've had some really unique situations, so that way I can make sure we filter things through. And I see a couple of people coming in through the cell phone. But if nobody else has any thoughts, questions, or comments, that's cool. I don't know. As far as your question, Melissa, I don't know. We have to sit back and think about it. But I would always tell people to make sure that you're willing to put in the right time and you dedicate your resources towards something that's going to be beneficial for you in the end. So it's always imparting. Sometimes it's not about right or wrong. More importantly, it's about clarity. Of course you can, Melissa. You never reach a resolution. Listen, I pick up my phone. So I don't know if people say, can you call me later? My phone number is on the internet. But you'll never reach resolution if you're not willing to engage in honest dialogue, even if that dialogue is with yourself. Take time to hug the person you love and love the person you hug. On behalf of GD9 Attorney Pro Se Consultants, I'm Greg Doss. I'm also the infamous DJ Squid. I'm saying peace. I'm saying chicken grease. Y'all take care.